Welcome, everyone. I'm glad to see that you guys are here. Hope you had an enjoyable afternoon. It sure was not exactly what I had in mind, but if you have any trouble with the audio or anything, let's check this. Let me know in the comments. I am going to try to make that work, and we will break that out so I can see you guys a little more clearly. That always helps me a little bit. Long day. Going to do the Q&A tomorrow, so no worries on that. I'll try to do a little bit of questions here, but mostly I'm just going to go through what I saw and we'll talk about the game. Get this camera adjusted a little bit here. Bottom line is 4 wins. That's what you got to take away on a day that Pat Mahomes didn't look like himself. A lot of misses, not terribly accurate. I don't know if it was the pressure getting to him because it didn't look like they were getting home or really crowding him in a way that I thought he might be concerned for his safety or anything like that. I mean, you always wonder, but let's see. Good. Okay, so you guys can hear me just fine, huh? Okay. I just thought it was a little off pace, little off kilter. Didn't look like a whole lot of coordination between Mahomes and the receivers. A lot of stuff to go over here. I want to start on the positive side. The run game came through, knocking the ball in. Both Shady and Darrell Williams, I thought they still look like they were a great 1-2 punch, to the point where, Damian Williams isn't hurting this team with his absence yet. So Darwin Thompson get a couple of snaps. It looked like late they went away from Shady. I don't know if that means that he was feeling it in terms of conditioning, or maybe that ankle's a little more aggravated. Haven't seen anything in the post game conferences yet. That could be coming. What I did see in terms of a injury update, that Damian Wilson could have come back in, according to Reed, that they didn't rule him out. There was some miscommunication there. We'll get more follow-up on that, but that would appear that he won't be in the protocol going forward this week, so he should be able to practice. He had an up-and-down game. We'll talk about the run defense here in a little bit. Also, Emmanuel Ogbah has a hip, but Reed didn't feel that it was anything too strenuous. Feels like he's going to be all right as well, so that's a big plus. I'm a little concerned about Sammy Watkins. Haven't seen an update on him yet. On that play that Mahomes missed him, it looked like he went down pretty hard in his initial cut and came up moving pretty gingerly. I know that Nate and Matt Derrick on Twitter put out that he was not moving correctly like he normally does. Herbie Husker, how are you? Nice to see you. For all of you guys that are new, appreciate you guys coming and hanging out a little bit. We do this every Monday, but post games, I just kind of roll through my notes, and I do take notes during the game, so I'll kind of revisit some of those plays. And then Monday nights, we'll do the Q&A. Everybody jump in here, and I'll do a short preamble, and then we'll just kick in at everybody's questions. And I try to get them all done in an hour. We'll see if we can continue that role. But if you're new around here, welcome. If you have something you really want to say, make sure that you hit the question marks or the exclamation points early in your comment. Doesn't look like Super Chat's running today, so no big deal on that. And let me switch this because I'm losing real-time feed. Okay, there, it's back. Okay. So long story short, little disconnect in the passing game. The running game took over. Now, they didn't run for great yardage. If I pull up the game sheet here, it looks like 5.3 for the day for the Chiefs. No, 4.9. 5.1 for LaShawn. 1.6 because Darrell's had all those short yardage rushes, but they both got in the end zone. Darrell twice. I think they both look good in the pass game. Darrell had a couple of nice cuts. That thing, and I don't even know what to call it, so I'm just going to call it a thing, from Travis Kelce to LaShawn. I believe that's counted as rush yards. I could be wrong. I'll have to go back and look at that, but I don't think the hook and ladder was what was designed there, but it certainly worked out. And that's a heads-up play from a veteran player. For he and Kelce to have that communication in the middle of the field and just be able to pull that off, that's pretty remarkable. Definitely an interesting play. Play of the day, though, has to go to Bashaud Breeland. With an assist from Xavier Williams, who had a rough day with penalties. He got called for 2 face masks, one that I didn't think was a face mask at all. I think they showed it on the broadcast. He had a hold of the ball, not the mask. And the second one was a 15-yarder, which I should have been, what did they call that? Inadvertent, a 5-yard, because he let go of it pretty quickly. And I thought that was indicative of what he was intending. It wasn't like he was going out there to do it. So, but on that play, also got his elbow in on the ball carrier before he was down and jar that ball loose. And Breeland was smart, paying attention, picked that thing up and took off with it. So more power to Bashaud. That really paid off. I mean, that's a turning point in the game. When you have a less than 7-point game and you score, that's huge. And more power to him. He did a good job. I thought he actually played, on the whole, best of all the Chiefs corners, period, even in coverage. I'm concerned about Kendall Fuller in man. We saw him at the back of the end zone, just, and yes, you can face guard, but I don't think that's good for him. Clearly didn't know where the ball was. He tried to get his head around a little bit, and I didn't get it done. And to have that ball, and not to take away anything from Matt Stafford, because his arm is nearly as good as Mahomes. I mean, he's the Mahomes of 10 years ago, basically. That cannon works, and to zing that in there underneath Fuller's outstretched arms into that receiver's hand, I mean, that was good. I was a bit surprised, obviously. My game plan, I thought Marvin Jones was going to be the guy that actually had the best chance of getting loose. Galladay impressed me, I have to say. I didn't expect that kind of performance from him. Likewise, I think Charvarius Ward got beat up too, even in man, which I was a little surprised about. And so this goes back to the whole conversation of, do the Chiefs still need a corner? Yeah, they still do. They gotta shore that up, whether it's, a big trade for somebody like Ramsey or Peterson, or if it's a minor trade for a younger guy that still has some comeuppance in him. I don't know, but they got to get something done because they need more help. I thought a couple of times Juan Thornhill was late too. We saw Tyrann Mathieu get beat, and Tyrann came back with that big sack later, right, and made up for it. But he got beat earlier. Same thing with Williams. Derek Nottie caused that other fumble on, I think it was Stafford on the scramble. Nottie's putting in a lot of good work that is going fairly unrecognized. So I'm just a little concerned about that. Bigger takeaway, we talked about it, that the team has chosen basically to prioritize coverage over run defense, and it ate them again. And you got another 125-yard rusher on the day. You got another team that looked like they were going to control the ball. And this was a game where, you needed to be farther out ahead, and it just didn't happen. I think it really stressed on both sides of the ball today what the run game can do. And I don't want to harp on it because I know you guys all know my opinion. I even talked with Josh Briscoe on Saturday about, the run game's not dead. It's still important. And it was vitally important in this game, both for the Lions to be able to eat clock and move the ball, and for the Chiefs to score. When they just couldn't punch it in the air, they needed the run game to do that. And so it is still important. And I'm glad that they have the guys that they do. I don't think it's a permanent problem. I think this was a bad day for the passing game. I think they're going to turn it around. Honestly, I think like the stumble that Demarcus Robinson had on that one route where he was clearly wide open, I think that was just, turf monster that's not used to playing on that surface. It's a little stickier. It does help you get a little bit quicker, but sometimes you get out in front of yourself and it trips you up. And I think that's what happened on that play, to tell you the truth. And I'm just not sure if this is an aberration. I feel like it is, but I can't be 100%. And clearly what we saw pre-game was Tyreek Hill taking some passes. That's got to be exciting for folks. And it looked like he was into it after Kelce's big player. He was right up there with him. Tyreek Hill's still into this. He's not taking his injury lightly. He seems like he's working. He seems like he's in decent shape. I think he's going to be back sooner rather than later. And I think that's going to help. And big catalyst there. And, playing without the starting running back, the starting left tackle, and the starting number one wide receiver, it's still a big thing that they were able to stay in this game, keep it within control. Mahomes showed a lot of poise late. I thought Mahomes really used his legs well today. Again, without taking chances about getting injured. I thought he slid pretty well. I thought he got out of bounds when he needed to. I thought he stretched out of bounds with the ball when he needed to. I thought that was all good play. That's what you need from a leader, especially when the leader's not playing his normal self. So even better for them. They got to learn to stop this run, though. As good as Mahomes was, the linebackers were terrible in terms of stopping the run. And I did notice some of the D-line were getting turned, especially early on some of those bigger runs. So clearly it's not just the linebackers, but there's one play, and I'm sure I'll put it in the film room this week. And folks, the film rooms are going to come out on Wednesdays for the most part, unless there's some kind of production issue that delays me. And film rooms then lead into the game plans on Fridays, and that's basically the general production schedule. I'll let you know if that changes through the community posts and stuff. So keep an eye out for that. If you're subbed but you're not notified or you don't have that little bell clicked on, hit that, especially on mobile, and make sure you get all of them, and that'll tell you when stuff's coming. But there's at least one play I'm going to put in there that all three of the linebackers missed their assignment. I mean, Hitchens probably hit the right guy, but he didn't control the gap, and that was a problem. And then Wilson dove right past him, and it leads to a huge play, especially on a play where you have all three linebackers on the field, including Lee. And that brings me to the point that I only saw Reggie play 3 downs, just by my count. He might have played more. We'll know when the snap counts come out official. But again, on a game that they're eating you up on the ground and you refuse to play Reggie Ragland, that at this point is starting to look like stubbornness. I don't think it precludes you when you know a team wants to run to at least using him on first down, because you know he's more stout against the run than Lee is by a long shot. And honestly, maybe as Hitchens as well. With Wilson not being injured, that's a big plus, because I think he's playing the best of the linebackers and you need him back. I think in his role, Ben Niemann is playing well on third down, being that nickel linebacker that they pair in the small nickel with or the dime with Dan Sorensen. Really Sorensen lining up as a linebacker rather than a safety in that gig. And that works. I think it's got to still improve, because that's just one down. You still have to get your base linebackers to play better. A lot of dings, a lot of fumbles on both sides. 6 fumbles today, 5 lost. So that's a lot of turnovers. And I give the Detroit Lions a lot of credit, though, because theirs were mostly coming on plays that are way old school. Matt Patricia's pretty old school. Belichick's definitely old school. So you can see where Matt progresses from, right? And that punch-out thing, that's old stuff we did back in the 80s, when I was playing Pop Warner and stuff. It's old school, protect the ball, kick it out of the offensive player's body and control, and it paid off for him in huge ways. If it wasn't for those turnovers, this team wouldn't have been in it. The Chiefs would have been rolling pretty easily, to tell you the truth. But again, I thought they settled down. They got some stops. I think they dialed up a couple of blitzes that worked out. I saw Fuller go on one, obviously the one that Tyrann Mathieu got home on. Just a really rough, weird game that they had to persevere. So I think that's the big takeaway you have to have, is that they persevered. They got it done when they needed to, and they were able to get kicked in the teeth and come back, and that's a huge thing. Now it's got to get fixed. I don't know if there's fixes on defense other than new personnel, and I know we're going to talk about, especially with Ramsey being inactive in Denver today, supposedly, like there's going to be tons of talk about it. And I think Mo Claiborne is coming back soon, and I think Mo's going to help. I think Ward's shown that he can play good at times, but he's inconsistent. That's the big thing. He's totally inconsistent. And Mo Claiborne may not be as dynamic, but he's going to be completely consistent because he's a veteran player. And so I think he immediately joins the starting lineup. That's a given. But Mo's not enough either. Mo's going to give up plays too. He's on the backside of his career. He was released for a reason. You still need X talent there. You need some big player there. I still lean towards Pat Peterson in Arizona. I still feel like they might be willing to move on from him. We'll see what happens at the end of the day. Rumor is that there's an offer that has been made to the Jaguars that includes 2 first-round picks, and that they declined it because they felt that those picks were going to be at the back of the round in the 30s. So that kind of narrows it down. Is it Chiefs? Is it Pats? I don't think the Rams are looking to upgrade. I don't think the Saints are looking to upgrade, and those are the 4 that I have that could possibly be picking in the 30s. So that kind of narrows it down to me. So I think that's overvalued myself. 2 first rounders for him. I don't see it, but maybe they feel that it's that desperate a situation. But the Jaguars didn't go for it. So maybe that will change over time. I still feel like he does get traded out of there. I don't think they're going to put up with this. I mean, he didn't practice. He came up with 18 different excuses. I know he had a kid, but now he's in Denver and he's inactive, and he's supposed to be the leader of your defense. I don't think you can let that slide. So I think they have to get him out of Jacksonville. I think they're going to put up a tough game, and the closer this gets to the trade deadline, I think the more they're going to have to come off their demands for trade value. So if the Chiefs are really set on him, I don't think it's going to happen until the trade deadline, because you have to have that immediacy from the trading team to get a deal done, not hold out for exorbitant kinds of draft compensation. So I really do feel like this is going to be coming down to the deadline itself. So, and which is crazy because I'm actually going to be on vacation that week. So that's going to be interesting for me. I may be covering you from a beach somewhere. Colin Saunders was not active. He's inactive for the day. Colin Saunders is not progressing as fast as I had hoped, or that the team has hoped. And quite frankly, they have a heck of a rotation on the D-line. So I think they're just going to let him learn and chalk this up to a redshirt year for him, unless somebody gets hurt permanently. So let's see. And the other big thing that they got to fix, you need better communication on the offensive line. Now, they didn't get – I don't think Pat got sacked. Let me double check that. No official sacks on the day, but he did get moved around a lot. It forced a lot of the incompletions, in my opinion. I can't give you a number right now. I'll have to rewatch it in order to pull that off. But let's see. They got 3 hits and what looked like at least 8 hurries to me. That's pretty significant, and Pat needs that help. Now, Schwartz struggled with what's a pretty good pass rusher. I don't think Schwartz is 100%, to tell you the truth. I think he's still dealing with some of that back strain that happened early in the year. It happened actually in the first preseason game, I want to say, and I was there the next week and I saw him, and he wasn't moving that great then, and I still see some of that in between plays now. I think he's powering through, and he's an Iron Man, but I think that's the truth. So I can chalk some of that up. Cam Irving didn't look like he had any serious bad plays. So, Jeremy, I'm just giving my opinion here. You don't want to watch. You don't have to be here, man. See ya. I just don't like the communication. I thought Wiley played pretty good. He gave up a couple. I thought LDT looked like he was playing pretty solid the whole time. He got a good push in there on one of those last touchdown drives. I'm just not sure if they're getting to the point quick enough. Those interior guys, Robinson and Snacks Harrison, man, they're formidable. So I don't want to discount those guys either. They get a good push, but I feel like there was just so much pressure collapsing that pocket today that I think it threw some things off for Pat. I think that can be fixed probably with scheme, but also you just have to roll with it. You can't just assume that he's going to get the ball out, especially when he's looking to go downfield. You know, you have to be able to get a little bit more decent at setting yourselves up for success by making those calls early, by going off of his mic call, obviously, first. They did do a couple of things to kind of throw off the offensive line, so it is what it is. Casino, good point. Ugly wins do build character. That's absolutely true. Having to tough this out helps. The sack production was better. I'll give you that. Still haven't seen the secondary make a big play, turnover-wise, snatching it away from somebody. And teams are throwing enough, so there's opportunities there. I'm not sure what else can happen besides, man, some of those end zone looks, I would have liked to seen them, like Kendall Fuller, not play man, but be in the back so he can play forward. You could see that they were aiming towards the back of the end zone. I think he plays well back there. Thornhill, I see you guys commenting about him. I thought he was okay, not great. He missed a couple of things. He was laid on a couple of plays. And I'll tell you this, the defense overall at times looked to me like guys were pulling up on plays away from them, plays at the sideline. I saw a lot of guys that looked like they weren't playing to the whistle. They weren't gang tackling like we saw the first couple of weeks, and that's problematic. I don't know that they're in the greatest of condition right now. I think that's something that the team needs to look at and kind of pump that up. So just trying to scan through here. I'll take all your questions tomorrow night, you guys. But just a couple of comments here just to remind me of some of my notes, because I think I've hit the majority of my notes. Let me pull that back up. Yeah. Deion Yelder, yeah. To start the game, man, Deion Yelder showed you what I've been saying he's capable of. He's got good athleticism. He moves pretty well. And I think he's a guy that can grow in this offense. Didn't see as much input from Blake Bell this week. Butker, I don't know. I got nothing. I just don't know what to think of it, to tell you the truth. It's just one of those deals that I guess sometimes he's going to miss. I don't know what could keep him off. I don't know what Dave Tobe could do other than to say, don't try to get cute. Don't try to aim it. Especially 36 yards. Yes, that's close for him because he's got a big leg, but that's not just an easy kick. So power it through. Do what you do. It is what it is. Oh, man. Yeah, for those that you are new, I am in Colorado, and then I live up in the mountains, and that's why the stream doesn't look that good. So just listen to my voice. It'll be okay. Big play from Pringle. I like that. Not just that he made the catch, but that he powered through it. He looked strong there, and I thought that was great. At the end of the day, I think the big deal is that they're 4-0. And they got beat up a little bit today. And they got a team that wasn't going to back down from them. It wasn't scared, and it was going to try to beat them up. Man, I guess I just got to throw people out today. This is getting kind of annoying. Yeah, see ya. So, long story short, another win. They got to regroup. I think they'll be okay. It looks like the injuries aren't evasive, so I think they're going to be all right. And they'll come back with another week. Claiborne on the way back. Fisher on the way back. I don't have any official word on Fisher, so we'll just have to see. Tyreek on the way back. There are reinforcements coming, except for the cornerback spot. So I think this is a takeaway for some of the defenders, all of them actually. Going to be a film-heavy week for them. I will try to get to it as soon as I can. If I get a chance to get it done early, if they get the all-22 out, I'll grab a couple of the highlight plays and just get that out for you guys pretty quick. So that said, I'm going to go watch the evening games and actually cook something on the barbecue here. So hope you guys have a good night. Be back tomorrow, 7 p.m. Arrowhead time, and we'll do the Q&A. Have your questions ready, and I'll have a ton ready for you too. So appreciate you guys' time. 4-0. Hope you enjoy that. I'll talk to you next time.